This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 48 local dispensaries, 13 cultivation sites, and 12 processing facilities serving more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, August 13th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 775 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. As it has so many times over the last 6 weeks or so, Canadian marijuana company Cant Trust Holdings is back atop our pile of headlines, and not for good reasons. Last month, Cant Trust was found to have grown a lot of illicit marijuana in unlicensed grow rooms that it hid from government inspectors, setting off a cavalcade of events, including the ouster of its CEO and board chair and the cratering of its stock. I just reported on accounting and auditing firm KPMG withdrawing a report it had prepared on CannTrust's financial results, and yesterday more bad news rolled in, as Health Canada notified the company that it had been found to be operating one of its manufacturing facilities out of compliance. BNN Bloomberg has the full read on this ever-growing cautionary tale. Zip over and give it a read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Tom Angel, writing over at Forbes, picked up on an interesting story, with Congressman Gerald Nadler of New York, the chair of the powerful House Judiciary Committee, writing a letter sent out to the email list of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML. Tom nailed it when he noted the significance of such a powerful politician speaking directly to the membership of the nation's oldest marijuana reform group. In his message to NORML members, Representative Nadler asked that they contact their own congressional representative to press for the package of his Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, which would remove marijuana as a scheduled drug while also providing programs for community rebuilding and investment and the expungement of past marijuana-related crimes. Another story worthy of a full read. Our final top story today is another one that I'm going to suggest you open up, as David Downs penned a personal dispatch from this past weekend's Outside Lands Festival, which took place in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park and that featured, for the first time, the legal sales and consumption of cannabis. I hope you're not at all surprised to hear and see that the special grasslands zone set up for adults of age to buy and use legal marijuana was one of the more relaxed, peaceful, and clean spaces in the entire festival. Tobacco consumption was not allowed in grasslands, nor was alcohol, and visibly drunk people were turned away at the entrance. There were zero calls to police or paramedics from within grasslands over the entire weekend. This is big, I think. Pay attention to this broader storyline. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 48 local dispensaries, 13 cultivation sites, and 12 processing facilities serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Curaleaf has been lucky to have the opportunity to operate in a lot of states with mandated vertical integration, which means everyone at Curaleaf has had to master the entire cannabis production chain, from cultivation through processing and dispensing. That's resulted in a company with fine-tuned operations from start to end. You can discover just how good the results are yourself by finding the closest Curaleaf shop to you and making a visit. Just open up curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf, where you can also learn more about Curaleaf's other product lines like Yuku Craft Cannabis and Curaleaf Hemp. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for supporting today's news. All right, time for the Blitz. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker just signed into law 2 bills that expands his state's medical marijuana program. One bill permanently adds a number of qualifying conditions that includes chronic pain, a noteworthy addition given how many people in other states generally qualify as patients under that category. The other bill is important in that it allows patient caregivers of underage medical cannabis patients to empower nurses, teachers, and other school workers to oversee the consumption of medical marijuana by their children during the school day, instead of having to go in themselves every day to do it. New Mexico has been working through the process of regulating its medical marijuana cultivation industry, with a previous cap on the number of plants allowed to be grown by each licensed cultivator being raised last year from 450 to 1,750, a level that was set as temporary pending a more thorough review by the state. Yesterday, a New Mexico hearing officer endorsed the 1,750 plant limit as a good number for the final ceiling for licensed cultivators, passing the decision down the line to State Health Secretary Kathleen Kunkel. The Massachusetts State Supreme Judicial Court ruled yesterday that the smell of fresh cannabis was not legal cause for the search by police of a warehouse. Unfortunately for the defendant in the case, they also found that in this particular matter, there was plenty of other evidence that did provide probable cause for the cops. But for the rest of us that didn't grow marijuana illegally in an Amherst, Massachusetts warehouse, it's a nice result that speaks to the quickening pace of cannabis reform. Yesterday, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer asked the heads of the Federal Reserve, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency to develop guidelines for banks on how they can work with legal hemp businesses. Industrial hemp was legalized in last year's Farm Bill, but there are still a lot of things that need to be worked out for how things like business banking can work. Kyle Yeager has a good story on this, along with a link to Senator Schumer's letter to read for yourself. Jesse B. Staniforth over at Leafly noticed an interesting story up in Canada with a stock short seller, a firm that tries to generate bad news for companies after shorting its stock, accused marijuana company Hexa of running afoul of Canada's rules for how the industry can advertise, charging Hexa with targeting children through their social media outreach on Instagram. Hexa responded to the accusations by saying it was in full compliance with laws regarding marijuana advertising. Its stockholders seemed to agree as its price remained stable, and maybe most importantly, Health Canada didn't raise any word of warning or alarm about the ad's run. We pop back to Massachusetts for a cool story, as the state has seen the opening of its first offshore adult use marijuana dispensary. The Green Lady Dispensary of Nantucket Island opened up this past weekend after getting approval from Massachusetts state officials to carry out its own testing protocols, given that there's no legal way to transport its on-island cultivated products to mainland labs for testing, since both airspace and the sea are governed by federal law, which we all know still regards cannabis as illegal. And finally for today, David Bienenstock did some good work and wrote a fairly comprehensive history on how the Netherlands played such an important part in cultivating and spreading the culture of marijuana globally, particularly in the 60s and 70s as cannabis gained some measure of tolerance by Dutch lawmakers, which led to the creation of what was for a long time one of the few places in the world where you could commercially buy marijuana without fearing arrest. It's important that you know where you came from. Read David's story. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.